Alright, let's take a look at some random Premier League flops who are currently league champions. Karabag, Michel. Alright, so let's start off with the unfortunately named Karabag, out the back arse of Azerbaijan. They've won the league this season, hardly surprising, it's their 5th league title in a row. Anyway, they've done it with the help from 33-year-old Spanish midfielder Michel. Now, you've probably never heard of this man, and even his own grandkids are probably underwhelmed by his career. 5 years of Sporting Gijón, come on. But he did spend 12 games at Birmingham City during the 10-11 season, where he did pretty much nothing. Dynamo Zagreb, Kevin Theophile Catherine. Dynamo Zagreb have wrapped up the Croatian League. Again, this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. It's their 13th title in the last 14 years. Christ above, Croatian supporters must be bored out of their goddamn tree. Anyway, Zagreb did it all with Kevin Theophile Catherine in the back four this season. You remember him? He's the fellow who couldn't kick snow off a rope for Cardiff City when they were in the Premier League 5 years ago. Slavia Prague, Miroslav Stoch. Slavia Prague have picked up their 5th ever Czech League title this year, pipping Victoria Pilsen by 4 points. Anyway, Miroslav Stoch scored 12 goals in 31 games this season. Just another lad who was chewed up and spat out by Chelsea, having been left to rot under the floorboards of Stamford Bridge for a while. He made 4 league appearances for them during the 08-09 season. Don't feel bad, lad, that's still more than Kevin De Bruyne ever got. Oh yeah, he also won the Puskas Goal of the Year award in 2012. Copenhagen, Guillermo Varela. Copenhagen won the Danish league by a point this season, and they do have a couple of former Premier League flops on their side, like Victor Fischer and William Kvist, relegated from Middlesbrough and Fulham respectively for doing the square root of nothing. But no, I'm going to go for Uruguayan right back Guillermo Varela, a man who played 4 games for Man United during the 15-16 season and was so bad that most fans would probably have liked to shoot him out of a cannon across the goddamn Atlantic. PSG, Eric Choupo-Moting. Well, we all know that Angel Di Maria is at PSG. To be fair, we also know Eric Choupo-Moting is, but I'm including him anyway because I still can't get my head around why that club ever signed him. You have all the money in the world, you're signing superstars left, right and centre, and then you decide to chuck a couple of quid at a lad who scored 5 goals for relegated Stoke last season. Like, what? Moting, of course, has done nothing to contribute to this title win other than work on placing a firm indent on the goddamn bench and missing probably the easiest chance of all time. I mean, lads, what did you expect? It's Eric Choupo-Moting. He can't seriously look at his winner's medal with any great source of pride, surely. It's like me stealing someone's Grammy and framing it on my fridge. Bayern Munich, Serge Gnabry. Bayern Munich Premier League flops. Jerome Boateng, Renato Sanches, but no, I'm going to go for a Serge Gnabry. Just in case it hadn't been rammed down your throat enough that the former Arsenal winger, who had been tossed in the corner at the Emirates and viewed as nothing more than wet cabbage, was now ripping things up in Germany with 13 goals this season. The heir to robbery. Speaking of robbery, Renato Sanches should be forced to give his medal back. PAOK Salonika, Chuba Akpom. PAOK Salonika are Greek champions by 5 points. And not only is there a Premier League flop in their squad, there's an English one. Poor old Chuba Akpom, the man who sounds like a lollipop. He must have spent the first 6 months talking to his goddamn cat, because I'm fairly sure they don't teach Greek in North London. After being sentenced to 6 different loan spells, the 23-year-old striker finally took the hint last summer, signed for PAOK, and has scored 8 goals in 32 games this season. A career high, although to be fair, that's not exactly hard. I remember when this fella scored 3 goals in a pre-season friendly for the Gunners. Arsenal fans spent the next week frothing at the mouth. Oh yeah, Jose Canas was part of this team too. 31-year-old defensive midfielder who spent the 13-14 season at Swansea. Juventus, Juan Cuadrado. Yes, we all know Juan Cuadrado was at Juventus, but still. To be honest, it's no real shame to have been a flop at Chelsea. It's almost like a rite of passage at this stage. Half the lads in the Premier League have pretty much been tossed out of that club. But yeah, the Colombian spent 13 games there before signing for Juventus in 2015, where he's been winning league titles ever since. Sheriff Tiraspol, Yaroslav Yacob. To the Moldovan Premier League now, Sheriff Tiraspol clear champions with Polish international defender Yaroslav Yacob on loan from Crystal Palace. I have no idea if he's any good, but considering he's 25 and spending his peak years out of the back arse of Moldova, I wouldn't bet the house. Ajax, Daley Blind. Look, neither of Dusan Tadic or Daley Blind were Premier League flops really, but then again, United fans could hardly wait to get rid of the left back last summer. If you're getting tossed out of a club, even as backup, in favour of an ageing Ashley Young, you know that team doesn't particularly rate you. I bet they rate him now. Dutch champions and 5 seconds of a Champions League final. Linfield, Roy Carroll. Speaking of Man United flops, Roy Carroll is still going. Yes, the man who dropped a punt from the halfway line into his own net nearly 15 years ago is still lifting league titles out in Northern Ireland with Linfield. He's 42 in September. Even if you dispute him flopping at Old Trafford, I refer you to that spell at Derby County, where he picked the ball out of his net so many times, I wouldn't be surprised if he contracted f***ing arthritis. Rosenberg, Nicklas Bendtner. In his own head, Nicklas Bendtner was never a flop and was just instead the most misunderstood talent of the 21st century. Yeah, being kicked out of any nightclubs recently, Nicklas. Rosenberg ran away with the Norwegian League last year, with former Arsenal punchline Bendtner banging in 5 goals in 23 league games. Still got it. Benfica, Adel Taarabt. Benfica are Portuguese champions courtesy of 2 points, meaning that Adel Taarabt is a top flight league champion. You know, that fella who looked as though he had a membership card at Burger King throughout his time in the Premier League with both QPR and Fulham. Christ above, the man looked as though he sweats when he breathes, and that a light jog might actually kill him. He signed for Benfica in 2015 and yet only made his debut for them 2 months ago. I'm guessing he finally put down the curly fries. Dundalk, Cameron Dunmagin. To the Irish League and Dundalk. I'm reaching here, lads, I know I am, but but defender Cameron Dummigan stepped forward, a league champion after making 0 appearances for Burnley during their 14-15 Premier League campaign. I'm reaching, but it counts, alright? CFR Cluj, Giedris Arlauskis. Now to Romania and CFR Cluj, who have goalkeeper Giedris Arlauskis on their books, a Lithuanian who played once for Watford in the Premier League 4 years ago. Yeah, I know I'm reaching, alright? Zenit St. Petersburg, Yuri Zhirkov. Did you know that Yuri Zhirkov is still going? To be fair, it was only a decade ago, and he's now lifting the Russian League title as Zenit St. Petersburg at the age of 35. Good on him. Celtic, Scott Sinclair. We're Celtic, geez, where do we start? I think it's generally accepted that the Scottish League now has become the cesspit for bang average Premier League players to end up in. It's like changing the difficulty setting on FIFA. It's never going to improve your own skills, but it might make you feel a bit better. Dedrick Boyata could never cut it in England, neither could Lee Griffiths, but I'm going to go for Scott Sinclair. Disappointing at all of Man City, West Brom and Aston Villa, he's finally found his level against the likes of Aberdeen and St Johnstone. Red Star Belgrade, Marko Marin. Red Star Belgrade are the champions out in Serbia, with 30-year-old winger Marko Marin scoring 7 times in 30 games this season. Chelsea signed him in 2012, played him 6 times, then did the usual thing of spitting him out on 4 separate loan spells until he finally got the hint, instead of, just telling him he wasn't good enough and selling him much earlier. It's a bit like going on a date with a girl, realising her personality is like nails on a chalkboard, and so instead of telling her to her face, you decide to spend 6 weeks cowardly ghosting her until she gets the hint. Come on Chelsea, I'm sure Marine had a wife and kids. I doubt they enjoyed living out of hotel rooms for 4 goddamn years. Maribor Jan Mlakar. To Maribor Slovenia now, Jan Mlakar has scored 3 goals in 8 games on loan from Brighton this year. Just 20, so it might be a bit too early to write him off as a Premier League flop just yet. Barcelona, Kevin-Prince Boateng. I could have included both Boateng brothers in this list. Both league champions, both wish they'd probably never set foot in England. Although, to be fair, I'm still not sure how or why Barcelona signed this man. Was it for a laugh? Is there a joke I'm not in on? Yes, he's a decent player, but Kevin-Prince is 32 years old and clearly cut out for the Chinese Super League. Anyway, he flopped at Spurs 10 years ago and got relegated to Portsmouth soon after. Also missed a penalty in an FA Cup final. Let's not forget. AIK Sebastian Larsson. Yes, Birmingham and Sunderland fans are going to crucify me in the comments. I can already hear them defending Sebastian Larsson already. No, he wasn't a flop, fair enough, but he wasn't exactly a world beater either. He's just after vice-captaining AIK to the Danish League title. Young boys, Kevinbabu. Swiss defender Kevinbabu looks like he's now off to Wolfsburg and looks set for a decent career after being tossed out of Newcastle like a piece of old tinfoil. In the same season the club were relegated and also sold Florian Thauvin, a man who's now a World Cup winner and rated at £70 million. Stephen McLaren, good lord, how much damage can you do at one club? Anyway, Mbabu's just won the Swiss League with Young Boys, a club where Michael Jackson was no doubt a season ticket holder. Galatasaray, Kostas Mitroglou. I don't know what happened to Kostas Mitroglou at Fulham. He's obviously a good player. I mean, not this season, he only scored once in 7 games, but at Benfica he was lethal. At Fulham, not so much, 3 goalless appearances and a relegation. But yeah, Turkish League title as Galatasaray pipped Istanbul Başakşehir, which on the face of it just looked like mercenary United.